I don't know why I thought about this, but I imagine Mali just being these like banjo playing, Confederate flag flying hillbillies of the Deep South. Giant wars and massive civilization extinction is now just a normal thing in the series. We see a lot of that in this video, and I'm just like, alright, whatever, people are dying. So I had the game running for a few hours, I came back to it, and I'm looking at the map, I'm like, alright, so what are some of the big changes? And then I realized, oh shit, Austria's dead. Like, I completely forgot about that. They have been just obliterated in Europe. It definitely looks like France got a little bit better of the deal. I mean, they took 3 cities here. Russia took, you know, a handful of cities away, but I noticed the AI was having problems with these mountains here. I think it's fair to say Austria and Poland now have something very much in common. Speaking of Poland, I didn't even mention the death of them because they died so fast. Like, Catherine just like bitch slapped them so quickly off the face of the earth. And that happened like a while ago. So I'm like a horrible person, I'm sorry. Now, as you can see, Austria still exists. They have like nomadic artillery through the North Sea, and I'm guessing they're trying to get to their colony. Oh, their colonies. Oh, well, good for Maria Theresa. I'm pretty sure that's still not her name, but I'm just saying, they can go live in the ice. They can be the snow people. Lisbon was also just taken by France. Remember, they were controlled by Benin for a long time, and they were wiped off of Africa, and now they're wiped off of Europe. And speaking of Africa, we have kind of a more minor war. The Ashanti are, I think, gonna lose pretty much everything here. Maybe that fire behind him represents some sort of burning passion he has for just killing off African civilizations, because he's been doing that a lot lately. We also have the Congo wiping out Ramses here. I don't even know if we saw the war notification in the last video. I don't think we did, but yeah, he is just obliterating this empire, and he's still very, very safe at home. Like, he's not dipping too deep into his manpower at all, because he can still protect against the Zulu if he needs to. Incredibly enough though, 30 more turns have gone by, and Neri is still here. I also want to say I fully understand I'm pronouncing that name wrong. But at this point, I don't really care. I also want to point out, they're not a 5-tile city. They're a 6-tile city. Look at this. That is technically a part of their empire. I don't know why this great general is just walking through Ashanti territory, but nonetheless, they've got 6 tiles now, okay? They've upgraded. Now, I was looking into the demographics over the break, and, you know, obviously the Australian Civ is basically dominating every category, except one, and that was military manpower. The Huns are dominating. They're easily #1 with the biggest military right now. It's easy to forget about them because they have all of these colonies in the North Pole. They have harnessed the power of Santa Claus, and now they're using the elves to build them, you know, a military-industrial complex. We also have a war between Tibet and Siam. This is kind of a weird one, because I don't think either civilization has a chance here. This city's just exchanged hands like multiple times. Because of the Himalayas and the way the Himalayas are in this map, I mean, it's just impossible to maneuver around them. And none of these civs are like particularly powerful. These are like B-lister civs, maybe even C-lister civs. So I don't know, it might be interesting to see what happens. Still no war in Eastern Asia, but it does seem like China has for sure taken the reins as like the most powerful here. I think that they would pretty easily win. But then, of course, we don't know what Genghis Khan would do in that situation, so it's still very much up in the air. Alright, so as for the New Worlds, obviously there are 2 major colonial powers. Well, actually 3. 2 in North America. So France definitely one of them, and then as we just saw, Murray for sure. French Canada is also getting even more sexy because they're taking cities away in this region. They're continuing to colonize the snow because they don't give a fuck at this point. They might take this Austrian city away, so again, I would love to live here. Let's not forget that Mali is still here, kind of in the Deep South. They're losing things though, slowly to the Mongolians. I don't know why I thought about this, but I imagine Mali just being these like banjo playing, Confederate flag flying hillbillies of the Deep South. And the 3rd colonial power, definitely the Congo. But I don't find them as impressive as France and at least the Australian Civ, because, you know, they didn't have to travel that far. I mean, okay, maybe a little bit. Maybe I should give them a little bit more credit. But, I mean, they had a massive continent in Africa. France and, well, it's tough. Either way. Scotland basically controls the Caribbean. There actually might be a Central American power for the first time ever if they get rid of the Zulu and the Congo and Songhai, all of these African civs that are kind of impeding on their islands. Now, there's also a couple of very quiet civs that I feel like could still play a role here at the end. Scotland and Sweden being one of them, especially as France continues to basically control all of Europe at this point. Will they maybe form an alliance? Will they go after Napoleon? Who knows? Same goes for the Zulu. Like, I don't know what he's doing. I think he's terrified of Congo. So is Movember leading the Congo? I don't know. Too much Civ 6. Either way, I was hoping that Shaka would try something here. And Eastern Asia doesn't even know what war is. These are like the peace-loving hippies, basically, of the world. All right, this was kind of an RKO out of nowhere. France just declared war on Songhai. That is a super ballsy move there, Napoleon. That's a really, really ballsy move. I mean, it looks like France is gonna do really well. But at the same time, when they get into Africa, it could be a completely different story. I mean, even when they don't get into Africa, it's gonna be tough to take the Italian peninsula back because Askia had a massive navy. But as I said, I mean, once you get into sub-Saharan Africa, I mean, this is where the core of his cities are, and I bet you they're going to be able to produce a lot of units or buy a bunch of units. It will not be easy. Of course, both of these countries are nuclear powers, so that's something to consider. I just think that France has a lot more threatening neighbors. Russia, Sweden, and Scotland. I mean, that's just increasing your chances of just somebody coming after you. I mean, yeah, the Congo are like probably either one or two strongest country in the game, but man, if you stay chill with them, it's gonna be all good. You just have to worry about one other country, as long as this one other country doesn't come after you. Which, by the way, the Congo nuked the shit out of Egypt. Clearly, they pieced out. Egypt is just left with this little city, which is kind of what they deserve because they didn't do a canal city, those motherfuckers. Anyways, this is gonna be a really interesting war, probably even more interesting than Russia and France just gangbanging Austria. You know, looking at the Russian Empire, I'm starting to think maybe France is okay with his Russian border, because look at where all the Russian troops are. Clearly, Catherine is extremely paranoid about a little Hun named Attila. I mean, that makes sense. When they're the #1 military power in the world, I would be shitting my pants too. Scotland colonized Greenland. It's about time. Man, Scotland, you've been pretty disappointing for the most part for me, but at least you've colonized some pretty awesome areas. Even though Martha, or the Marithi, if you want to be all proper with the pronunciation. They've had a horrible last 2 videos, but they're still going. They're still alive, surprisingly enough. Tibet is kind of starting to pull ahead above Siam. Look at that. The dwarves are really using those mountains to their advantage, as they do, being dwarves. They might take the city away. I think I've said this before in the past, but I really like the Cham Empire. I think they're pretty awesome. They just, the start and the population they have in all these cities, even though it looks like their territory should suck, like, I'm really happy with what I see from them.
Welcome to the rice fields, mother.
France is gonna continue to build that Canadian empire. I didn't realize Songhai was right here, so yeah, they're gonna for sure lose this city. Austria still exists, but they do have 2 cities still left in North America. Well, this one is barely holding on because Genghis is trying to fuck that up. We still got the Mali Empire going strong here in the deep south. They can still play their banjos and spread freedom, worship Jesus. Oh, actually, they can't worship Jesus because, okay. Oh, I think Songhai's at war with the Zulu. Oh, that would explain why Napoleon thought he had maybe a better chance than he actually does. Oh, there's been some nukes dropped here too, in modern day Brazil. Holy crap. I believe these cities started off in Songhai hands. I'm not sure. I know Zulu have been here for a while, but they might be able to catch the Congo, maybe at some point. Oh, the Ashanti also got a little bit of the Fallout love. They're playing Fallout, the game in Fallout. I don't really know why I say stupid shit like that. I just try. You know, I mean, kind of looking over their empire, I don't think anyone can catch the Congo, at least in South America. Their colonies are massive. Scotland has become this like massive disappointment for a lot of people I know in the comment section because they started off so strong. I like that there's just a random Neri worker that's been here for a few decades, maybe even a few centuries, just chilling on this island. They're used to it. All right, here's what the new front lines look like. France did pretty good in North Africa, surprisingly, as well as in the Italian peninsula. I have no idea what the hell Songhai is doing. Are you? No, you're not going after the Congo. You're going after somebody, but there seems to be a good relationship between these two. That's a really big deal if they have open borders, because that means that, you know, it's less likely that they go to war. Russia took a city. Remember, this was in Askia's control, but boom, there it goes. Catherine gained herself a city. Good for her. Oh, I haven't seen this unit in a long time. Man, this is such a dumb unit. I'm sorry, I don't like it. But yeah, so giant death robot is coming. We'll see how it does. Oh, I didn't realize that lots of nukes had dropped all over Northwest Africa. All right, that's cool. No fallout inside of France though. I don't know if France even nuked Austria, to be honest. If they did, they already cleaned it up. Oh, the fall of Finland is about to begin. I don't know who's going after it. Maybe Sweden and Russia at the same time. I'm sorry, but it needed to happen. I know I like Finland, but damn, they've been around for too long. But you know who hasn't been around for too long? Yeah, Neri is, oh shit. I think we're unfortunately going to see probably the last of Neri. I don't think they're gonna make it to the next video. The Timurids are also dropping in with some paratroopers trying to take out Assyria. That also needs to kind of happen. I'm just saying, when it's this late in the game, you know, I just want some of the smaller civs just to get taken out. Egypt definitely needs to be included on that list. Apparently Tibet and Japan were at war. That's really interesting, and I think it only furthers my theory that Japan couldn't take China. Well, you know, there are a lot more units here now. Maybe Japan was focused on the Pacific colonizing and things like that, but holy shit. This would be so much bigger than any European war we've seen so far. I'm pretty confident in saying that. Siamese Hawaii, still looking beautiful, and they're protecting it now with, you know, an air force. I mean, if that's what you want to call it, two bombers, yeah. I am so shocked that the Zulu still has control over Australia. Yeah, I guess the Australian Civs pretty chill with this, clearly. Mongolia just colonized the South Pole. All right, good for them. I actually didn't think anyone was going to do that. And the Zulu have taken out the 2 Ashanti cities in South America. Didn't they have 4 before? They did. I think maybe the Congo took 2 more. Oh, I totally forgot to mention, yeah, the Ashanti have been completely kicked off of Africa. I think we all knew that was gonna happen. I can just imagine these Mali colonialists being like, hey, Mongolia, you wanna go mud wrestling? We got some great mud wrestling out here. So what are we gonna see out of Europe? What do you guys think in the comment section down below? It's up in the air for me. I actually still think this war could go either way. I don't know. I know that Napoleon has obviously made a lot of gains, but I could see Songhai make a comeback. Again, I think with all of these cities in sub-Saharan Africa, they could probably pump out a lot of units if they needed to. Whereas the same thing wouldn't happen for France. I mean, they can, you know, have a navy in the Mediterranean, but that's mostly why they've taken these cities. It hasn't necessarily been because of a massive army that made some sort of naval invasion. And of course, we have to consider the neighbors of all of these civs. Russia, Sweden, the Congo, Scotland, even some of these civs that border French Canada. They should be considered because they can still have a role if France gets, you know, too deep in the mess in Africa. I just think Napoleon has a lot more to lose in this situation. And I really hope not because, man, I love this colony so much. Oh, good for Scotland. Oh, it's my lucky day. They've colonized the shit out of Greenland. All right, I like that. Japan sitting here with Japanese Alaska. I wish China wasn't here, man. This could have been perfect. Perfect. What is this called again? This is called like the strait. It was like frozen over the crossing of, Jesus, I don't know. Well, they were really close to controlling that territory in their civilization. We also need to keep an eye on the Mughals and Persia. That is a very low-lying rivalry that I think is going to break out in the next video. This series is, I think, by far the most watched, the most requested that I continue, so we're gonna do one more to finish it off. We're probably gonna go about 100 turns, which I think is okay because there's no more colonization taking place. It's all based on wars, so we're gonna go to turn 500, I think, and see the last final few conflicts and see what ends up happening. But we can skip a little bit further ahead now that basically the New World's done. It is all done. Anyways, guys, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.